Welcome to the Four Fellows Tribunal, the inaugural tribunal. Obviously, we have the four fellows here, myself, as well as Duard Beefy, Nin Bain, and Dixon. Today, the three judges will be me, Dixon, and Egg. And then, obviously, we have a fifth fella here today with us, our buddy GPoww, a Chesaning native. And I'm going to hand it off to Dixon for further information.
Yeah, so today, Nicholas Bailey and Garrett Anthony Powell will argue back and forth to determine whether toilet paper belongs under or over the cardboard roll.
A few guidelines here today. We're going to do Nin Bain, you're going to start us off. You're going to get 2 minutes. On your side, a hard 2 minutes. I'll have a timer going. And then GPoww immediately following gets 1 minute. 3 minutes, my bad, correction. GPoww, you get 3 minutes. Then we go back to Nin for a closing 1 minute. Following that hard 1 minute, the three judges will have roughly 3 minutes to judge you, and then we'll come down with a final vote. All right?
Yes, sir. Let's get it started.
Sound good? All right, Bain, you're on the clock, brother. Starting right now.
So I am representing that toilet paper rolls should be over, without a doubt. For example, my toilet here. The toilet roll is on my left. I like to swipe down and then immediately grab. I feel like it's easier to grab. You can also count the toilet paper squares. So you're using less paper and not going through a roll a week, or not even a week, a bag a week, a day, like Connor Jakacki. So statistically, according to Reader's Digest, which is highly read by 80-year-olds, 70% of people prefer over. Now, I think the majority should always win. That's how democracy works, and that's how I think this vote will work. But going on, I think it is more cleanly to grab the toilet paper over. Why? Because it's collecting stuff on the bottom under, I feel like. Sometimes you flush, and you know how when you flush randomly, water goes everywhere? Well, if you have it under, you're going to go grab it from your hand with the under. With the over, you grab it from behind it, use having a cleaner hand, then wipe your brown eye. It is also easier when it's further away than it's closer. Why? It's 2 inches closer. That 2 inches helps, especially if you're reaching.
You're at $1.40 currently.
We can move on. I got my opening statement in.
Pass it over to GPoww. Start your 3 minutes right now.
All right, look, today I'm going to be representing why toilet paper should go under the roll and should always stay there. First, I think it really tells about how the way someone orients it really tells about what an individual they are. It shows like whether or not they are an individual who likes to take advantage of things that can be advantageous. And orienting the toilet paper roll underneath the roll allows someone to live a life of such advantages. The first advantage is that it's easier to grab. It just hangs there instead of sitting on the top of the toilet paper roll where you might not even be able to see it. The end will just kind of roll down, making itself really visible. And second, the next sheet after you rip it will almost automatically always be there and visible for you to see. Even when you pull it out and rip it, you're leaving a little bit of distance there, so it kind of just hangs. And then additionally, when it's not visible, the end's just going to sit there. You're always going to know it's there. And another thing, what Nick said was that it's underneath, and that's why it's going to get a little dirtier. Well, no, it's not really underneath. It's farther away. When you have it over, it's closer to all that shit and all that fecal matter when you're flushing, especially if you don't flush with the fucking seat down when all that shit flushes up and stuff. You can't do that. And second, since the roll is kind of just like usually found in a wall or something like that, when it's hanging up against the wall, you can even just rip it with 2 fingers. All you got to do is hold it there in between 2 sheets and kind of just spread your fingers and it rips. And it's even easier to do it with 2 hands. You really can't beat putting the toilet paper on under. And if you want to live a life of advantages, that's how you got to do it. You got to have the toilet paper under. What am I at? That's got to be like.
Well said. That was about 2 minutes. You got another minute if you want. If not,
Oh
you
man. Well,
pass it on,
we'll talk about what Nick said. Nick said that you can swipe down and immediately grab it. Well, that's not really how it works. It might just stick to the toilet paper roll and just constantly be spinning around. When you just got to swipe up a little bit, gravity does the work for you, and it'll just kind of show up there. You know what I'm talking about? And additionally, it doesn't matter whether or not most people in the country do it. Like you said, you do it like a democracy. The democracy
seconds.
can be totally damn wrong. And most of these people could be doing life wrong. They could be living life without the advantage of a toilet paper going under the roll.
Okay.
That's all
Thank
I
you,
got.
Anthony.
Move on.
All right. In the meantime, I'm gonna mute you fellas. And us 3 judges.
We gotta wait for.
I'm sorry, do I
Nick
get
gets
1 more minute?
1 minute rebuttal.
Correct.
So, to counteract GPow's thing about it being closer and gravity falling, well, if it's coming back around over the top, it should still fall. It's still going down. It's just closer. It's more convenient for the normal person. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Heard enough. Heard plenty.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, fellas. Thank you for those takes. Now, myself, Duard B, and Dixon have 3 minutes to converse and judge what you boys said. What do we think, fellas?
Okay, if I'm being honest.
Unbiased opinions here as
Unbiased,
judges.
completely
Unbiased.
Just based on the argument, I kind of think GPoww won it.
Why?
I think just the points he made, Nick kind of seemed to be like stumbling over his words a bit.
It's not about it's not about the way you get it across. It's about the actual content within the message.
It kind of is about how you get it across.
Part of it's the delivery, I think. And I agree.
Completely disagree.
You disagree completely.
GPoww stumbled the whole beginning. Like
I
that.
mean,
I didn't think so.
I think they both made good points.
They did.
And they both had their stumbles.
Here's what I think. Me personally, I'm like a weirdo when it comes to that. I'm building a bridge across the toilet seat when I use toilet paper.
We're taking bias out.
It's no personality here.
Let me finish. You gotta let me finish. But if I was to do it normally and pull toilet paper off like a regular person, I like the fact that I'm not putting pressure on the front of the toilet paper to try and spin it down off the front, because then you do get the reoccurring where it never breaks off. But you go if you bring it from the back, it's always gonna fall.
Argument GPoww made about the ripping, I think it is easier just because the natural friction from the rip with the paper, it'll just naturally come off easier. Yeah, I kind of
one thing I can tell you for sure.
GPoww.
I can tell you this for sure.
You're leaning G?
Nick Bailey, his take and his point of view. I'm a big 2 square. This isn't biased, but I mean there are squares in every section of the toilet paper. There's a square. Definitely easier to see if you're pulling off the exact amount that you want when it's coming off the top side than the underside. You don't know if you're gonna get a clean rip if you're coming up under the bottom of it.
Without a doubt, I agree. I think that was a good point by Nin as well. I'm leaning Bailey here.
Me too.
All right, Nin and GPoww unmute.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, fellas. I will go first. We have a final vote. I believe that Mr. Bailey had the better arguments. I'm going with Nicholas J. B. Dixon, who you taking?
You know, we started this segment because you're not supposed to be able to beat GPoww in an argument, and I too am going with Nick Bailey.
Wow.
I was leaning a little more towards GPoww. I think the way he put his points across and conversed those towards us was better in the delivery aspects. But I do think Nick's actual ideas on why the over the top rather than under were better. But I'm still leaning GPoww a little bit. So give me GPoww.
That's majority rules. And JB, first win on the board. Garrett Anthony, you
Inaugural.
definitely will have time to redeem yourself next week on the next edition of Four Fellows Tribunal. See you, fellas.
Peace.